Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have my co-host here. Today we're having Cultural Day in TVC, and we're excited, looking all ethnic and glamorous. How you guys doing?
I'm doing amazing.
Viajilu in the building. The kind of last minute jeka we did today. Anyways, good. How you doing?
I had a good time yesterday. I went to visit a friend. Yesterday was my off. So instead of just lying down and rolling from one side of the bed to the other, I decided to dress up and go visit a friend.
Oh.
So I was there all day. We're eating, gisting, gossiping.
Old friends or new friend? Old friend.
An old friend, yes. She lost her father very recently, and I'd not had the opportunity to see her.
To go see her.
I missed the burial because I was not in the country when that happened. So it was my way of compensating her, that I'm there for her and all that. So we had a good time. She wanted to put on TV. I said, no, I came to gist. I'm not watching TV today. It's me and you. So yeah, start downloading what has been happening. It was a good time. Yeah.
Ah, fantastic. Good. How are you doing, Nima?
I'm grateful.
I just want your bangles.
Yes, thank you to the person who sent the bangle. I think it's for me, exclusive you. I think, in case I'm mistaken, and there was a card inside. I don't know what the card bears. But thank you for
got your own package. I sent it to you.
The
kids
loved
package,
it.
yeah.
Oh, yes, thank you. The water bottles were so lovely. My kids, the way they jumped on it. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you.
You're getting yours today because you're not around.
I haven't been around.
I like your outfit. Where is this from?
So this double wrapper is a reverse attire. I got it as a wedding gift from my neighbor in my mom's house. And I kept it all through the years. When we move houses, I kept it that this is a native. And when Murayo called me this morning that show up for Cultural Day, I just had to go and dig out what would fit. So I'm representing Rivers today. But my mom has gone on a journey since last year to this year. It's a spiritual journey. It's not a church, but this woman is clocking 70, Mrs. Adenike Fadaunsi, and she's leading a movement to God. Amongst old, like she's 70, most of the people are like in their 60s, but they are rediscovering God in a different way. My mom is reading Joyce Meyer, she's reading Kenneth Hagin, she's connecting with the Holy Spirit in a different way. Say, God is talking to me. God is talking to me. You need to talk to God. It's not about church. It's you and the Holy Spirit. And the person that made my mom rediscover God this way is Mrs. Adenike Fadaunsi, and her birthday, 70th birthday was yesterday. And my mom told me, you have to celebrate this woman. She's changing so many lives.
Celebrate you.
So
Happy birthday.
Mrs. Fadaunsi. Thank you for what you're doing, and God will continue to bless you.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's interesting. It's good to see you.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. It was a very
Your head cannot shake.
I can't even, the way they just packaged me, like, it was last minute. I totally forgot about Cultural Day. So when I got to the office, I was like, oops. So I had to start calling people who just brings, they just like attaches or something. So I had to call you also. So it's not my usual combination, but I just to my help, just find something in the
wardrobe. But you look amazing.
Yes, it really looks good.
Just last minute. So
it's wear and borrow me. I'm not your side.
Please, I'm trying to lose weight. I saw talk about this morning, jogging at 7:15. I was on my way to drop the kids at school. I said, this girl will be coming late to work. Coming late to work. 7:15, I just jogging. And see, wake up early. Anyway, let's go on a break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. I'm so scared of wearing my glasses.
But I will read.
Okay, we're going to start with the nation. Audit. Federal government takes step to deregister ASU. Wike to expose characters in PDP disguising as leaders. Otedola Ahmed, Agwai, Momo, Hassan, others join Abdulsalami-led peace panel. Atiku, economic blueprint won't fly, says minister. Multi-choice others reject pay-per-view subscription model by Senate. Amotekun court to carry weapons, says Akeredolu. And why Ondo Ogun clash over riverine communities. How Lagos can achieve good governance by stakeholders. And Tabulan is SGF interim chairman as Fayemi leads FORAF. Okay, which story are we starting with? Major headline, ASU?
So just as federal government said that the industrial court ordering ASU work members to return to the classrooms and start lecturing will not affect negotiation. Just one day after they said that, the Registrar of Trade Unions, that's a government agency, is now saying, as I have not submitted audit in the last 5 years. And upon that, I'm going to withdraw their certificate of registration.
Wow.
And, you know, this, of course, will just give us more grounds to say, because according to them, it's required that ASU annually submits his financial report, and that since they have not submitted it, they are looking at withdrawing that. I'm hoping that... Well,
is this not wrong timing? Because it seems like you
No,
waited, if you had said
but
this
when you
exactly at the beginning of the year before the strike started, we
They're
will
not
understand that
right
you're doing due diligence. But bringing it up now...
5 years after.
Yes, I beg you, made it
just
happen.
look.
Governor Akeredolu is once more expressing his displeasure with the federal government. According to him, the federal government has granted Katsina State allowing them to bear weapons to defend themselves. And he's not happy that the same approval he requires is not being given to the Western Nigeria security, which is Amotekun. According to him, it's quite unfair. We're having one nation, two systems. We're pursuing one country, two systems. It specifically said that the denial of Amotekun to bear arms to protect the people violates the tenets of federalism. He said that Katsina was able to arm its own state security force and with the display of AK-47. Why are we not able to do the same for Amotekun? And he added that the independence agreement was based on a democratic arrangement to have a federal state and devolved internal security mechanisms. He, as a result, would have no choice but to defend our people. Now, that is very weighty. What does that mean? Are you going to get your own arms without federal government approval? We'll have to. That's the.
I'm happy that he's speaking up.
But it's good that he's speaking up because it's unfair for one part of the country to get arms and that part not to get arms.
Or whatever grounds it is, because we know all states apply, and for the right to carry arms or give arms to their security agencies, whatever grounds there are for approving Katsina, let's compare it to why you are disapproving that of Mekiti, so that we know that there's a transparency.
Yeah. Okay, so the owner of Lakampine Tropicana Beach Resorts, Otumba Wale, entered into an agreement to develop the area into a blooming relaxation spot for global business. Now, there's this Araromi seaside that has been described as untapped gold mine along the coastline of the Atlantic Ocean. It sits on 200 kilometers out of 840 kilometers of beachfront along that Nigerian coastline, and they say it has natural, beautiful vegetation. So they are looking at developing that place. So according to, that's the Ondo State Governor, Akeredolu, launched the construction of 50-kilometer road to connect to that Araromi seaside. And they are trying to make that place another relaxation center. Just, yes, hold on. No. So this one now sparked sort of aggrievement. The Ondo State is saying this particular seaside belongs to us. Ogun State is saying this particular seaside belongs to us, and they are going to be, bringing out some of their documents, even from the time of our forefathers, how the place was divided, and this was given to both states. So both states are claiming that that particular place belongs to them. I don't know how they are going to sit down and look at this area.
Moving on, multi-choice.
Multi-choice, yes. So the multi-choice, was the CEO of the multi-choice, Mr. John Ugbe, was addressing the committee led by the Deputy Chief Whip of the Senate, Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, was talking about the fact that the pay-per-view will not work. It's not feasible, and I had to read to understand his reasons, because he mentioned that there is no technology to measure pay-per-view, and since there's no way to confirm pay-per-view, that some people would want to watch high-ticket sports shows, and some will now say they want to just pay for that opportunity to watch it, and there's no way there's no technology to ascertain who is watching part-time. This system cannot work. Both multi-choice as well as Star Times and other stakeholders that were at the committee meeting yesterday all said it cannot work.
They are still consumers.
It's technology now. You can't develop your own technology first now.
There's technology for pay-per-view in South Africa. Why will you say we work here?
Well, they say they don't have
if you want them,
they say it is different for pay as you go.
Yeah.
It's different. Pay-per-view is what the Senate is pushing for. No technology for it. Pay as you go is when
for South Africa.
While you're around, you can take a break.
Consumers.
That they say they can be reviewed.
The pay-per-view that I know is that, for example, there's a there's a football match going on, or maybe there's a boxing match. You then apply and say you now put a code and you pay and you watch that one and that's it. And then you go back to your regular subscription. That's the pay-per-view I know. So you pay per view. The other one that the Senate is asking for, I don't know of it. Maybe there's another part in the country and the world that they do it. So let us know, because I doubt if they will outrightly tell you there is no technology when there's actually technology. Moving on to Punch. Atiku PDP Dare Wike Makinde begin campaigns on Wednesday. Hoodlums ransack and loot Ogun School. People sent home. 245 killed in Kaduna communities attack, says Monarch. Akeredolu fumes as FG denies Amotekun firearms license. Military to bombard bandits asked residents to relocate. Presidential candidates signed peace pact on Thursday. Electricity consumers paid 210 billion naira in 3 months. Nigeria needs help to tackle debt burden, says African Development Bank. And Ongad Buhari woos investors, says Nigeria requires 348 trillion naira. Okay, I was going to start with, go ahead.
Yeah, you know, we're complaining that we don't have enough facilities for our different schools. And here, residents of Alagunta in Ewekoro, Ewekoro local government area of Ogun State, were shocked that their primary school, the community primary school, was invaded by hoodlums who went in through the ceiling and carted away with all the equipment they had, the school, chairs, the desk, the files, everything. And this school was built by a Lafarge PLC company, probably to support the community.
Happens a lot in Lagos.
They just went in there and took everything. So the school heads have reported to the community head, who said that they would take the matter to the police, investigation will be done. But this is just unfair. We don't even have enough to cater for, and this particular school caters for 2 communities.
It happens a lot. I mean, these are stories that government doesn't come out to. They'll tell you. Apart from that, they'll use the school while the kids have gone home. They use schools to go and do their small hangouts for drugs. They'll do all this. And the teachers can't do anything. The security guys can't do much. You tell the government and they still try to, they'll chase them away. Next day, they'll come back again. What are you going to do?
This is the community. It's a community thing. Community must take ownership of the facilities around.
When the federal government is
The national Nigerian electricity.
Oh, let's go on a break, Nima. Sorry about that. Let me go on a break. When we come back, we continue. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. Nima was going to take a story.
Yes, so the electricity consumers, according to Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, in 2021, Nigerian electricity consumers paid 210.17 billion naira to discos. And they said that this, compared to the amount of bills given out, it's about 69.34% of the money revenue expected to be generated, which was supposed to be 303.11 billion that was billed to consumers, but they were able to generate 210. And out of that amount, the discos only remitted 149.19 billion. That is about 61% of the. So there's an outstanding of 61.53 billion naira. I'm just saying that this story shows that they generate money and they also have a deficit of payment. It shows that that system is working. That was for 2021, the annual report for that year.
Nothing for 2020.
Okay, I was going to take the major headline concerning the Wike article issue. We're still having disgruntled members of the party. So the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Debo Ologunagba, was speaking yesterday that they will inaugurate the campaign starting on the 28th of September. And they're going to go on as planned. They're not going to change any plans. And some of the chieftains were spoken to also on this, how this is going to be resolved. And they said that because IU was elected, not appointed, it has to be, it's going to come down to it has to be done democratically, that their party, PDP, oppose the constitution of the party very, very dearly. And they won't, because some powerful stakeholders within the party want him out, they'll just remove him out. Although Governor Wike has insisted that he doesn't plan to leave the party, but he's going to remain in the party. However, he's going to, they pulled that he and a few of his other colleagues who are in agreement with him, like Governor Makinde, Chibode Judge, and others, have pulled out on the campaign council, say that they're not going to participate in the campaign of Atiku Abubakar.
Let me take the quick story about what's happened in Kaduna State. So, on Wednesday at the Kaduna Catholic Social Center during the commemoration of International 2022 Peace Day, the paramount ruler of Atiap Chiefdom, Dominic Yahaya, has raised alarm that over 245 locals have been killed, while 623 houses were burnt in attacks within his domain, Zango Kataf local government area of Kaduna State. He mentioned that this started since 2019, and early 2019, it was isolated between farmers and became more rampant. About 14 of such incidents have occurred, and it snowballed into a major crisis in June 16, 2020. He said the issue is, it's even very distressing now because they know the attackers. They've lived with these attackers for a long time, and they come to the community and call out the names of those they are going to come and kill for one activity or another. They come and attack the persons, and there's nothing they can do about it. So they are just narrating this very painful experience that happens usually in the dead of the night and has left the community desolate, you know. And really, we need to start talking about these things over and over again to bring peace, you know, than trying to use fights to resolve issues like this.
Moving on quickly to Daily Sun, Wike to unveil preferred presidential candidate. Everything to confer national honors October 1. NNPC, U.S. Corporation, Exim Bank seal deal on gas project. Why Nigeria in forex crisis, says CBN. Can inaugurates political strategy committee ahead 2023 elections. Court order, FG has declared war on us, says ASU. China not planning to take over Nigeria's critical assets over debt repayment, says Envoy. And NDP, Nigeria to spend 49.7 trillion on capital projects in 4 years. Okay, go ahead.
The Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, is blaming the low revenue inflow from oil sales for the nation's current foreign exchange crisis. And he said this at the panel session at the Nigeria International Economic Partnership Forum held in New York, United States, yesterday. So according to him, he said Nigeria has, for several months, failed to meet their OPEC's expectation, that's Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. And the nation's crude oil revenue dropped in August from 900,000 barrels to from 1 million barrels to 900,000 barrels, which was recorded in July, according to the OPEC's monthly report. And he said this led to the massive depreciation of the naira. And, you know, at the current market, it was going for 436 to $1. They said they tried as much as possible to revive this using their RT200 project, which is supposed to help boost foreign exchange supply with non-oil export proceeds. So, you know, Nigeria has been focusing mainly on our oil proceeds, and now that is sort of failing us, we have to try as much as possible to diversify, and the government is doing what it can to diversify. They went ahead to give more reports on what has been happening so far.
So there was a visit by the Chinese Special Representative on African Affairs, Liu Yuxi. He came to Nigeria, and also the Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Kui Jiakum, has said that that the country has no intention, that China has no intention of taking over Nigeria's critical assets as repayment for loan in the event of default, as is being said in some quarters, that they have absolutely no intentions to do that. Yuxi also, who is the representative from China, says that Chinese government's full commitment to improve bilateral relationship with Nigeria is appreciated, and they're going to uphold the One China policy, and they have a very good, so they don't plan to come down knocking on our door because we're defaulting. They're very interested in our infrastructure development, and they'll continue to support Nigeria the best they can to ensure that we build infrastructure. So it's good to know that. We
really need a good relationship with China. The kind of money we are owing them, if they decide to
so they are saying that they are not doing any defaulting. A lot of you should calm down. Focus on infrastructural development.
Okay.
I'm not worrying about what they're going to
calm.
So CAN has set up a committee to, they inaugurated a committee to, according to them, you know, this committee is called a Political Strategy and Action Committee, and they want to create an umbrella for the body of Christians in Nigeria to achieve its aim. And I was trying to find out, okay, what will this aim be about? He's saying he wants more Nigerians to develop interest and participate in political activities that would herald the emergence of a new set of political leaders in 2023. And he's talking about the fact that there are many issues facing Nigerians. He listed some of the issues. He said if the primary purpose of politics is to just win election, it's not going to work. So they're going to be doing this information, spreading information, encouraging people to get involved, participate. We've lived too long under politics that is manipulative. That's
I wonder if the Muslims too also say they want to have a political strategy to also get, so it would be who's doing
But really,
what?
Khan isn't all Christians. Even Khan itself is just Orthodox churches, not really all Christians. But as many people that will be speaking peace. Yes, there's PFN, that's Pentecostal.
They're all Christians now.
But they have different bodies.
Body. PFN is a different body.
bodies, yeah.
So, but what I just want is let's push for peace. Let's ask the right questions.
Push for unity.
Let's push for unity.
Let's not be divisive.
Exactly.
That's for me
That's
more
really
than
our
because
statement
you're saying that get more of people, ours to get. So what are you trying to say?
What are you saying?
Because Nigeria is more than Christians.
It's moving on to
all
Vanguard.
together.
If Katsina security have AK-47, Amotekun must also be armed. Crisis, no living PDP will fight within Wike, tells allies. Let's find a story we've not taken. Tambuwal takes over from Fayemi as NGF chairman. No access to Apapa as trucks, tankers take over roads. Nima tells us this every day. Nnamdi Kanu has not eaten for 2 days in excruciating pains. Since lawyer. Outbound air cargo stagnates at 30.1 billion naira as inbound declines. NNPC US Corporation Exim Bank Seal gas deal. Debt burden, Nigeria needs help, Africa Development Bank says. And 2023 PDP 5G campaign council at war over economic blueprint. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Mr. Jofo, that Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, has said that for over 2 days now, Nnamdi Kanu has not eaten in detention. Says he's having excruciating pain because he has this gastrointestinal disorder. And so they have tried as much as possible to get him to see his own personal doctor, but DSS has refused. They have even refused, disobeyed the court order that gave them, given Nnamdi Kanu the permission to see his own medical doctor, and they are buying substandard drugs for him using local chemists. So they are saying that Nnamdi Kanu must not die in that detention. Even the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, has also mentioned that it would be risky for Nnamdi Kanu to die in detention. They are asking that if the DSS cannot take care of him, even if he's what do they call this, a provisional bail, sort of, so that they can take him to see his medical doctors or bring his medical doctor to him in the DSS so that he can be properly attended to. Those substandard drugs are not working for him, and the man is in serious pain. He hasn't been able to eat in the last 48 hours. I think the government needs to look into this. They've been clamoring. I think YK took this story on Wednesday, I remember. Until now, nothing has been done. The government needs to move in. If they need to get him that medical attention, even while in detention, they can handle that. And let it not look like there are some conspiracy theories about how government is trying to deal with him without, recourse to his fundamental human rights.
Wow. Okay, and that story in Vanguard. I was going to take the debt burden by Africa Development Bank. So the president of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, was saying yesterday that Africa, alongside especially Nigeria, needs help from the international community in tracking its debt burden. According to financing, it's critical because the debt of the GDP, the debt to GDP ratio of Africa has increased to 70%. Several countries at risk of high debt distress due to unstable economy, issue of insecurity, and unstable debt levels. He was saying that Nigeria's debt level has reached 42.8 trillion naira.
Wow. We know.
Wow. And the external debt level stand at 16 trillion, and he was just going on and on. Obviously, I think he was also re-echoing what our vice president was telling them in America, if you recall, was saying that we can do some trading for global warming, the issue of climate change. So Adesina also stressed, I said that to understand this, all you have to do is take a look at, he was saying that African countries, including Nigeria, need international partnership to tackle climate change. So hopefully he's making that suggestion because we might be coming back to them to say, listen, if we forgive our debt, we'll use that money to help tackle issue of climate change, which is what the president also echoed when he went to the US recently. Okay, I think we've run out of time. Let's see if we can rush through the Nigerian Tribune.
Okay, so
The story that's important.
I think we take this story. IPPIS has failed the test by our own agency, the National Information Technology Development Agency, which ASU mentioned. So the Speaker for the House of Assembly, House of Representatives, is saying that why is the government still using IPPIS after it has failed the integrity test conducted by NITDA? And I'm also waiting for that.
That's all we can take on Front Page Review. That's an interesting conversation. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we have a guest, then go to our hot topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Join us on the show now to tell us more about Kellogg's brand. Is the brand manager, Kellogg's Toleram Nigeria Limited, Ushikoya Omobunike. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So
Good morning.
tell us about Kellogg's breakfast. I'm told that, obviously, we know Kellogg's breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Tell us about this.
Okay, like the name implies, breakfast. It's a break a fast, right? And having breakfast, you would say it gives you energy to go through the day. We have 7, 9 working hours, so you need something in your belly to actually just run you through the day. It might be, those that are going out to hustle, those that are going out to do their hustling and bustling, you need something in your belly. So as the name implies, breakfast, and that's why it's important.
Because who told you people that breakfast is the most important meal of the day? What's the criteria for that judgment?
Okay. Okay, I would ask you, at 12 o'clock, if you have not put anything in your mouth, how do you feel?
A bit
The world will be balanced.
I've been seeing 2 of you.
Yeah. So if you have put something in your belly before you actually start your activities, you know that you at least have something to sustain you to certain hours during, midday, before you have the next thing in your belly. So it's quite important. It's quite important.
I'm tempted to agree with you, truthfully, because sometimes just being on this show by 11 o'clock when we're working out, we need to grab something in between here. So there's this buzz that there is going to be something called the Kellogg's World Day.
Breakfast day.
Kellogg's World Breakfast Day.
Yes.
So can you give us the details about what this occasion is going to be about and why the occasion is necessary in the first place?
Okay, let me start with World Breakfast Day as a whole. It's something that has been celebrated, I'm sure, even before I was born, right? And we play in the breakfast space, in the breakfast category. So it's something that we as Kellogg's do globally. So in Nigeria, we have been doing it for quite some time now. And the only time this thing happened was during COVID, right? So it's some stuff that has been happening over the years, and we're doing it again this year. It's gonna be, it's a yearly celebration. So this is something we're going to do another year.
So what should we expect from it, and where is it happening? Details.
Okay, so this year's breakfast day is pretty different and quite exciting. It's going to be happening at the stadium, Teslim Balogun Stadium. I'm inviting you people, please. I'm inviting
It's going to be big.
Please.
What's going on there? Just want to serving breakfast. Serving breakfast.
No, not just serving breakfast. You have an opportunity to meet with your, favorite celebs. I'm not going to start mentioning names. Go and check our Instagram page. Go and get cute. So you can please come and have free breakfast cereal. But the only thing, your access to get into the place is 3 sachets of the cereal, any of your favorites. It could be Cocoa Pops, it could be cornflakes, it could be Frosties, it could be Rice Krispies, anything. So you just need 3 of your cereals to come in. That's your access to come into the place and have lots
No
of...
pre-registration, nothing, just
buy 3 sachets.
If you go on the social media page, like I said, you have to tap on the story post. You see the registration, and you can register. But for those that just come offline, if you cannot make it to the social media page, just come with 3 sachets and we'll let you in.
Okay, would this be like a yearly celebration?
It's been, and it's gonna
continue.
Bigger, better.
Okay.
So we're eating breakfast. Is there going to be maybe something for the kids to do, or is it just adults you're taking care of?
No, I'm taking care of everybody.
Oh,
Everybody.
okay.
You can come with your
Children as
and
well.
grandchildren and.
No, I don't have
So
that.
tell us the day, time.
So it's going to happen tomorrow, Saturday, 24th of September at, like I said, the stadium. It's for adults, it's for children, it's for everybody, the family. Call me grandma, call me grandpa. It starts at 8 a.m., but before then, we're going to have, like, rallies to drive people in there, like, with
Security, when you hit Tesla, you're thinking, oh my goodness, that's the heart of Lagos.
I promise you, it's Kellogg's now. We've put everything in place.
Oh,
So you please come through. Please come through. It's going to be safe, definitely. And yeah, it's happening tomorrow at 8 a.m. So I'm
I'll be in
inviting you.
Surulere tomorrow morning.
Ask
you
me.
might
Call my
just
name.
stop by.
Call my name.
And my daughter loves your cornflakes. Since there's free breakfast, you'll be sure to show up. Just to come and see for ourselves.
Yes, please come. I'm waiting.
Nice, thank you so much. Anything else you want to share with us? You still have a few more minutes.
So I'm just going to encourage everybody to please ensure you have breakfast. I mean, this is aside the celebration. Ensure you have breakfast. It's really important. People are going. I mean, we know how Lagos traffic alone is. The traffic alone can make you be dizzy. Like,
You had breakfast today.
yes, I have. Always. You can't catch me. Always. Always.
Always guide.
I think
I
that's all we can take on
Yeah.
this segment. When we come back, move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned.
Thanks for staying with us. A story broke out about a lawyer and human rights activist, Professor Zainab Abiola, who beat up her orderly inspector, Teju Moses, over her refusal to do house chores. She has since been arrested by the police. We would like to hear your thoughts on how the woman of that caliber dehumanized her fellow woman to the point where she got she was found in the pool of her own blood. Wow. How do we get to this stage? And I'd like to read a response by the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, on Thursday, directed an express prosecution of the arrested suspects who are in police custody. According to him, the preliminary investigation showed an overwhelming evidence of culpability on the part of the professor and her domestic staff. Also, the CSP Muiwa, the force PRO, CSP Muiwa Adejobi, also explained that the IG has strongly condemned the grievous assault of a female police officer and obviously has asked for an investigation. So, as of now, we know that the story actually did happen. The human rights activist and lawyer got her help, one other person, to beat up the police officer because she did not do her chores. The video is rather disturbing because we see the video of the policewoman sitting on the floor, and quite a number of people were trying to see what was going on. But the situation now brings us to the conversation of how we've directed that many of these VIPs that have those police officers, many of them, we thought they had actually
Stopped this.
stopped this and they've retracted. That's one. Secondly, somebody who is supposed to be a human rights activist, how would she have allowed this to happen? We don't know the circumstances of which this happened because we can say over the top of our head that no matter what happens,
Whatever circumstance.
until we hear the other side of the story, it's always we should be careful to judge. However, what we see is a bloodied police officer on the floor, and the fact that the IG has ordered an investigation. What are your thoughts of this? So let's you can call us on 081-270-53687, 0913907694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets. We know there's no justification for this, but it's always important for us to hear all the sides to know exactly what happened. What could have entered the mind of a human rights activist and a professor to do this kind of thing? There's something else happening here that were not clear. That's how I feel. But what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah.
Nima?
Okay. So let me quickly just come from the IG statement. So the IG said, Let me read it quickly. The IG, Usman Baba, has strongly condemned the grievous assault of a female police officer, Inspector Teju Moses, by her principal, who is a legal practitioner, and human rights activist, Professor Zainab Duke Abiola, and her domestic staff comprising of housemaid, one Rebecca Enechido, and another male currently at large. Then he went further and said, Zainab Duke, an Mbaise-born activist, grievously assaulted her oddly. I think they were trying to put sentiments inside this thing. They're just trying
By
to...
mentioning tribe and all that.
That's the only thing.
Oh, really?
Yes, because
That's your own understanding of it. Doesn't mean that's what
human being
tell us.
assaulted another human being.
Simple.
Whether uniform or no uniform. It's because we are colorizing all this. That's why we don't know what is crime and what is not crime. The other day, the PRO of the police officer had Mr. Falan SAN warning him to withdraw a statement saying that police officers can slap
the
him.
right to slap.
We need to know what assault is and how it is and make it a crime, irrespective of personality, class,
Tribe,
ethnicity,
group, religion.
And so in that way, we can clearly deal with it.
Yeah.
Once we say it is not allowed for a certain group of people and allowed for a certain group, we are confusing ourselves. All of us thought till now that they don't have oddlies attached to anybody. In my widest imagination, I could never have thought that an activist had an oddly attached to her. So I'll be shocked if Aisha Yusufu tomorrow now has an oddly attached to her. I'll go shocked. Because what I grew up knowing is that maybe for certain offices and maybe magistrates and justices, you have oddlies. But after that, I don't know. I'm just finding out that professor...
Ordinary... It's not
professor...
You can even have
I said, people like... I know somebody who... I don't know what... I was just wondering, on what basis do you have an oddly? She has an oddly... I won't mention her name, but I said...
That one said,
Which work are you doing? People, when I go to sites, they're always asking me, how can you be going to your site and you don't have police oddly? That's for you to know how we have watered down this institution.
Professors now, who is supposed to be a member of us, have oddly. This life. When the drama, the film,
you don't know where our professor came from.
The second season started to play out. The professor now forget that she's an activist lawyer. That's supposed to know right.
She's a professor in the US. She doesn't have to be a member of us.
He got to abuse right that she's supposed to know.
Anything she is, she now forgot that she's a human being. An activist, somebody who should be aware of human rights, and ask somebody to beat up another somebody, to assault. Well, it's because of all these titles that we are confused here. What is clear to me is that they beat somebody.
Okay, she have added,
and she should be
have to pay for it. Yes, they have to pay for it. But so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. She's good, and I agree 100% with her. So it's just unfortunate that people who are expected to know more don't do better. So we get knowledge because we want to do better as human beings. We keep improving, we keep studying, we have these certificates. You are a doctor now, you are this, you are that. Everything is just happening. We are expected with that amount of knowledge that is coming, that there will be a form of transformation happening within, so that that knowledge is used properly. And people can say, this person is actually a living example of the titles that we give to her or him. Before they say, I'm always talking about women. But unfortunately, that's not what happens. So you see all of those people who are supposed to know the right things to do, not do the right thing. Because there's a certain class, there's a certain mindset that I can do this and get away with it. I have the wherewithal. Nobody can question me. We need to begin to question people. We need to begin to call crime what it is. Like Nima had just said, crime is crime. Irrespective of your class, your ethnicity, your religion, crime is crime. You commit a crime, you do the time. You need to be ready for that. Now, how do you know, we used to say women supporting women. How do you sit down and no matter, even if she entered your room and stole, why don't you just take her to the appropriate authorities to deal with her? How do you sit down and watch a fellow woman being brutalized like that, whether you're the one that brutalized or is somebody you call to brutalize? How do you do that, knowing that first you are a woman? You should even show more empathy. You should understand more because you are of the same sex. How do you? Okay, leave the certifications right now. How do you not become a human being?
Yeah, I get that. Well, so let's talk about this social class thing. And I come to you, Dr. because people always have, because you can take a man out of the ghetto, you can't take the ghetto out of the man. So it's inherent in you that certain people are beneath you, or certain people are just, they're your orderly, they're your domestic, you order them around. Even when you become the professor, become the rich person. Even as a poor person, you feel that you still have that same mindset.
They do.
But it's amplified when you now become a professor, when you now become wealthier. So you cannot say, no, you're just an orderly. Please beat her up for me. That was you did. It's that class system that we have in us. Because it's easy for us to judge now because we are seeing this. But many of us, we are that professor in different ways. Many of us treat others as if, oh, I am so much better than you. I have more achieved. I have exposure. I have traveled the world. I'm a professor. I'm richer than you. And I can do with you whatever I choose. We do it. Unless we want to pretend as if we don't. Many Nigerians in this country do that.
Nigerians, yeah.
So that's why. So there's this statement. God has given us opportunity to given us the order to dominate. So God says you should dominate every creature,
not
any human being. So you are not meant to dominate another human being. You are meant to lead, and leadership is by influence. But what we have here is rulership and authority figures. So people become powerful so they can dominate over other people. I'm a police officer. I have this uniform. I have a gun. I will go one way. I will dominate you. I will kill you. Nothing would happen. We are the ones in power, the person in power. When it was in the southeast, everybody in Abuja was wearing the Delta hat. We are the ones in power. Now there's another region in power. We are the ones in power. You cannot do anything. We know the president. The governor and I were eating breakfast together yesterday. I will call the governor. I will speak to this person. We have a culture that lords a bit of influence and power over everybody that does not have.
Yeah.
So everybody is oppressing the next person. And that is what we see display here. Simple. So this woman might be a human rights activist. She might be speaking English on every TV station and writing articles every day. But in her heart, she's still an oppressor who is in her own way oppressing the one within her power. I feel so bad. Even in addition, we should be blaming the people that carried out the order. Because Yoruba says, that means if they sent you a message like a slave, you would deliver it like a free man. So you have a colleague in your house that people work together, obviously, and then your madam says, beat her up, and then you started beating up the person.
If the madam is paying your bill,
I'm going on. Wait, stop.
We wasn't. See,
wait. Don't lose this topic. Don't vex. I've reached where we are going. I beg, what behavior, what carrying, what dignity did the police officer carry herself that they asked her to do house chores?
Exactly.
Yes,
Maybe, I'm just saying, inside the house, you come, if you are ugly, you are supposed to do your work, but
mind your business.
You don't give me food. 2 meats. When see madam talk, you are already up not being. You are not carrying yourself with your official class that you should carry yourself. Your work is security, but you see her now. They beat her so that she sat down
on the floor.
This is not funny. I looked at that video differently. She was saying, "Give me water inside the video." I was like, what is happening here? What's this drama?
She must have also lauded her own position over others.
Herself.
She may have.
She said that she carried herself without dignity. Enough for police, for whoever attaché or attacha, which one? Whoever the professor was to feel that he will slap her. Or you call her.
Deal with her.
If she comes officially for a police duty,
carries her
faces
bag,
her work, carry her girl, and she's calling her superiors at the station. I'm doing my work, and when she closes, she takes orders. She goes back.
She respected herself.
But if you come, you carry, madam. Today, say, madam is going. You have carry bag. You have Poshua.
Okay, let me go.
You carry yourself like a housemaid.
So that's another angle.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's another angle. So
I agree.
Let's go on a quick program. We come back. We'll open our phone line. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So to continue the conversation, we have Daniel has been holding for a while. Good morning, Daniel. Are you there? Oh, I'm so sorry, Daniel.
We lost her.
He really wanted to talk on the show. All right, so we're still discussing this matter. Bisi, you wanted to say something?
Yes, so I like the fact that Nima highlighted that if you disrespect yourself, that's what will follow you. Anywhere you go to, whether you have a job, you're working with people, you're helping people out, is how you present yourself. That's what will determine how they will treat you. And this one is just a clear case of how the Nigerian government has presented the police. Everybody can have access to a policeman. Once you just have money now, you can get them, they work for you, you talk to them anyhow, you treat them anyhow. The typical Nigerian man now does not have respect. When I mean man, when I say man, is man and woman, no, does not have respect for a police officer because how much are they earning? I can pay you, I can pay your salary, I can do this, I can do that. The government needs to do more to help these people, that's one. Secondly, no matter how somebody presents him or herself to you, as a human being, there's a treatment you cannot give to your dog that you will not give to that person. No matter how, I've worked with people who, I didn't like how they went about the work. The eye service was just too much. They will carry back, they will gist this, they will do. After a while, I'm like, oh God, we can't do this anymore. I'm really not comfortable with how, I don't like people who are like this. And I let you go. I don't have to start treating you as if you're a dog just because you have presented yourself in a certain way. That's the way they craze. May they tell and say they craze so that I could get help. The woman in question who will allow another human being be treated that way should be taken to where she would get treatment. Right. How you treat people is how you think about yourself, first of all. She has underlying issues in herself that she needs to deal with. And we need to start having this mental health conversation as often as a lot of people are not well. Morayo, a lot of people are mad. We're a lasho. Abi, how did they call this?
Let me take this call. Ihe, are you there? Good morning. Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
You're live.
I love your program. God bless you people.
Thank you, sir.
For bringing up this kind of issues.
Thank you, sir.
Please, hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. That kind of the professor should be treated. Let me not use this the foul language. She's, I take her to be an animal. For meeting that kind of treatment to that police woman, she should be treated as such. And please, I would love your team to take it up to the logical conclusion.
All right. You see, I'll come to you, Tokwe. The reason why I always object to this kind of condemnation is not because I don't agree to it, but it's because I feel that many of us are hypocritical. We live in the same country where people do these things in different degrees.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like this one person that we don't catch now. Everybody's not saying, hey, she's the one, this is because this is somebody's mother, this is somebody's wife, this is somebody's... So she's also a respectable person. But yes, she's done something disrespectful, absolutely, and should be condemned. But I'd like to believe that we should all also take this as a learning to us, because as you're pointing one finger at this woman, we're pointing forward at ourselves. Many of us do this in different degrees, and we should now make her look like, oh, she's such a bad person, she should be treated or something like that. Also, in addition to that, Tokwe, do you think that there's also that, could she have done something to respect the office? If you don't respect the person, that uniform itself, how do we begin to respect that office? So if you look at the man, as scruffy looking, I can pay your salary, I can do this. If you look at policemen like that in your own view, but that uniform they are wearing, can Nigerians begin to respect the uniform? Maybe you don't respect the person.
So, to answer your question, I believe that the Nigerian police force needs to do a whole lot more to represent themselves right. I have made a decision. Respect is a decision. I don't treat police people, I don't treat a policeman with disrespect, because I respect myself and I respect the institution. But it is a decision. It wasn't easy, because sometimes I see them and I'm like, don't do this to yourself. Don't. Respect yourself. And sometimes their character makes you want to disrespect them because of the way they are behaving. So every Nigerian needs to make that decision that regardless of how anybody behaves, I'm going to treat you the way I want to be treated. I'm going to respect you. But I mentioned something earlier and everybody was looking at me like, he's paying you. The fact that you're paying me does not mean you own me. You can pay my salary, but you don't own my life. Your money does not take away my ability to make my decisions. So because somebody is paying me now tells me, kneel down, raise up your hand, close your hand, and I will kneel down. Lie. I won't, and I know I won't, and I believe people should get to that point where they say, because you're feeding me doesn't mean you will disrespect me or make me do something that is wrong. So inherently, those two people that beat up that police officer themselves have issues. There might be more to the story that we don't know about. Maybe they already have personal drama, but I don't believe that we should just take orders blindly. We're not in a military. I'm not a military officer. I can't work in a military because I cannot just, you can't just tell me, obey before complain, continue like that. Even my children ask me questions, and I believe it is important that I explain it to them. No human being should be saying, they told me to beat, so I beat. You should be able to make a decision by yourself, even if you are being paid.
All right. Before we, just a moment, we'll be signing out of TVC News Nigeria now because we have to move on to Port Harcourt. We hear that Governor Wike of Rivers State will be having a media chat, and you can continue watching the show online or on terrestrial stations. So we'll be yanked up in a few moments. That's on TVC News. Right, I think I'm told I have Hassan. Hassan, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Good morning, Morayo.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Please, let us have one thing at the back of our mindset, that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts.
Absolutely.
A true test of human beings. True test of human beings are two things, money and power.
Simple.
For you to get to know the real attitude of a person, give him one of these two things.
I'm telling you.
Forget about activists. Activists, most of them make noise to get there. And when they go into the power, they come out dirty. It's very clear in Nigeria about that. And when you look at this issue of power, power is not for everybody. Power is meant for people that are humble with the power. Power is meant for people that take power with pinch of the sword, with a sense of responsibility. Most of the people that go to power, they don't have what it takes to be in that power. And we only think it's a general view among all of us that anybody can be in power. You see this woman, you see, she demonstrated the kind of person she is. Go to the union, see how they behave. Go to all these people that make noise, how they behave. Go into their personal lifestyle.
Exactly.
You get to see that they are not what they present to the people to see. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Hassan.
Thank you.
So I was saying that all those that carry placard, I don't want to mention their organizations now, all those people, all the NLCs, the MAA, ADM, we're not saying that's who they are, but you see, we are all Nigerians, and there are different parts of our culture. These things have come into us, and we must all learn, take a learning from this professor's
You know, you mentioned,
mistakes.
quickly, I just wanted to happen, so before I forget it, you mentioned that we're not, it's not like we're here to judge. You know, we're not judging her specifically because most of us do almost the same thing. The mere fact that we have an opinion on anything, that's the meaning of judgment. We're already judging. So when your matter comes out, the public will pass their opinion. That is judgment. That's the meaning of judgment, and everybody is a judge. However, in judging, you will also look at yourself and ask yourself questions. Am I doing the same thing? Is there any way that I can change from it? But to say that, let's try as much as... We need to be very careful so that it doesn't seem like we are excusing some people because they are dignitaries from some things and allowing others to do the same things. So if a matter tables and it blows, your matter blow, everybody will have a say on that matter, and people that need to learn will learn from that matter. But to say, let's be careful how we say it so it will not look as if we're judging. Everybody is a judge. There's nothing we can do about that. I just wanted to put that out there.
Because it's also important that we look into the training that, you know, the Nigerian police start to give their people now, their members or staff now. Because sometimes when I once saw a police officer in front of Lasso, I could not believe my eyes. His buttons were everywhere. He was, you know, obviously drunk.
I've seen that.
Pointing a gun at me, shouting at the top of his voice. But because I had what they call their provost number at the time, I said, okay, I'd like us, you are, just wait. Madam, who are you calling? I said, don't worry. And I called, I said, I'm looking at a police officer now. I don't think he's a member of your team, but he's wearing a uniform. Because I couldn't even see his name. But once the colleagues noticed that I was speaking to somebody, they took the phone, they spoke, and they apologized for his behavior. They were trying to call him to order. He was just everywhere. If such a person was attached to a professor or whatever, how do you think the professor would see her? When you are constantly trying to upgrade somebody who is attached to you, when the police officer comes to you, they come in their full official capacity. They don't need a training for you. That's the proper thing to see. When they come in, they also know better about your security than you. Not that you'll be using them to harass. You say, oh yeah, like the other senator who told his police officers to beat a young girl in the sex toy shop the other time. You know, a police officer's duty is provided by law. Their office, their attachment, these are serious office holders. They should carry themselves with some form of class and respect and dignity. It should not be possible for any Nigerian, anywhere, to look a police officer in the face and say, oh yeah, beat him, you know, wash plate. I can't understand that. So it must be something about how they carry themselves. Right. And the IG must also look into the training.
Okay, well, let me try to speak to CSP Imo very soon, but let me take this call from Daffy. Good morning, are you there?
Yes.
You're live. Go ahead, please. Oh, Daphne. Go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
It's a bit muffled, but we're trying to hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. I said it's unfortunate this incident happened to this police officer. I want to believe that for every police person that is attached outside, because they are underpaid, from my own view though, because they are underpaid, it's an extra cash for them. And when they do this job, they try to be like family with these people and not trying to bring in that officer uniform to that house or that environment. They want to make everybody feel comfortable with them. By so doing, others take them for granted. They take them for granted. I'm not in the force. I'm not even close to the force. They take them for granted. Now, I want to believe also that a human rights activist is somebody who has empathy and lack of discrimination for evil, as in they detest discrimination. By so doing, this woman has proven to us that, the professor has proven to us that she only preaches what she wants us to hear and not what she does.
Thank you, Daphne. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing this issue of the woman. I will be having the first PRO, Olumiyiwa Adejobi CSP, who will be speaking to us. I'm told he's online. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Friend of the house.
Okay, so I'm told he's yet to join us, but we wait to hear his thoughts on this report, because our understanding is that many of these police officers attached to VIPs have been recalled. That's what we thought. And what are the modalities of getting these orderlies away from certain people? And we need to find out what's the update on that. And also, many of these orderlies, we see them at parties. So let's even pack this current story aside for a second. We see a lot of these orderlies at parties. We see them picking up money when they are spraying them. We see them following them, carrying bags. We see them running errands, picking kids at school, taking kids to the daycare. We see them doing all sorts of stuff. And the question is this the job description of police orderlies? What should be the scope of their work? And that's what we'd like to speak to the CSP. What have been your experiences with all this you see around following VIPs?
I see them everywhere. There's no party you go to you don't see. In fact, just have a level of small money. The next thing that is expected is that you find somebody that will be securing you now. Find someone that's the next advice you get from left, right, and center, you know. And it's because of how we have watered down the police system, how we have disrespect. And if I don't give you permission to come and disrespect my child, you cannot from your house. They're not born you will. Come and disrespect my child. The government has disrespected these people. People are now picking up on that to further disrespect them. After all, we can pay you.
Well, there are people that need VIPs, BC. For example, there are certain people. So, for example, you're bringing in experts from wherever the world, and you feel that, okay, they need to come into country and want them to feel secure, because some of them feel like, I know, me, this is my own experience. Nobody just me. I was the owner of Trace. I will never forget this. It was going from when I was in High TV. I was driving him from High TV office to our studio in Ikorodu. I was driving. And that was the day we had some strike. They were burning buses. The guy was calling his wife. I started giving her his account details. All with that, just in case I die. Because they're blowing up buses around us. So those kind of people would need experts, at least police officers. So there are people that need VIP.
No, so hold on. Why are they not looking to get private security?
Okay.
I don't think when you travel outside the country that the American police will be working as orderlies.
NYPD.
Or the
NYPD securing you in New York.
Yes, be working as orderlies. We need to respect that system. They are there, that office, they are there to protect Nigerians, and that's their job description. Anybody who is looking for extra personal orderlies should go to private securities, and people should start making money, set up private security outfits, and face these VIPs. Nigerian police should be removed from this sort of nonsense.
And private security will not carry arms. So that's another issue.
They may
The
carry
thing
arms.
is, we have a security challenge in our country. We cannot...
Oh, I have to pause you for a second. I have a call and holding. Onazi, sorry for keeping you for so long. Good morning. Are you there?
Hello.
Go ahead.
It's all right. Good morning, you ladies.
You're live.
Good morning.
My name is Onazi, speaking from Sangota, Ogun State.
Yes.
Okay, Sister Moraya, good morning.
Go ahead, sir. We can hear
you ladies, of your view. Yes, Moraya can watch you, talk by, and the rest of you. The issue on ground, the issue people are talking about on the ground, actually, as a matter of fact, is bad. Because how can a police officer be maltreated the way that woman maltreated her? Although, but this is not the first time. So I just pray this justice should be done to the professor so that other ones will learn. And secondly, Madam Morayo, I've been to your office several times to have a contact with any of you, but I was not allowed.
Really, it is well. Security is a challenge. I can say that I'm on TV, you know, and people, I feel, I don't feel safe, you know. And I would like the police to give me escorts, and I would get a police escort. And because I'm feeling I'm very important and I can afford one, by protecting me, hundreds of people don't have access to someone to protect them. And as long as we keep doing that, every Nigerian will hustle and do anything to make money. Because poverty is a sin.
It is.
Poverty can kill you. So we make money so that we can keep on creating this distance between ourselves and feeling oppressed by the world.
Distinction.
That distinction. So I know there's a security challenge. And I've said it here.
Learned since that. The poverty is a situation, I think.
No, that's the reality. Is poverty is a situation and everybody can change it. But in Nigeria right now, if you are poor, people are yes. It feels like this is not life. So what are the things that we need to work with? BC already said we should have private security handle all VIPs. You are very important. Your life is very important. Pay a professional.
But they can't carry arms.
You.
It's not authorized to carry arms.
We have gotten to that space. So what are we doing? I worked on election in 2015. Private people were carrying arms. People carry arms in this country now. It's official. It's unofficial. Legalize it and create a proper system.
Let's clean it up. They give a license to some certain VIPs. We know one that is very close to the house that has a license. But we know that they had an objection to women getting that license. They can open it. Any VIP that feels VIP'd and his security is
a threat for him.
Please go and get your license, give it to the person, or get a license for your security detail.
Simple.
A private security detail. Create employment. We need people to get employed. And you know they're not well paid.
Please, can we also mention this thing? Why would we read in the papers that this is a rule and then it doesn't get implemented? We were all celebrating when the IG said that they were going to withdraw all escorts.
That's why we're waiting for the CSP
so
to get on.
So we celebrate the news and then it's not implemented.
Happens.
And we now feel bad. When they now say something tomorrow, we will not believe them. They'll say, Nigerians don't believe when we say something. We are be skeptical. It's because several times you have said and you did not do.
Okay, let me take this call. Hussein has been calling. Good morning, Hussein. Are you there?
Good morning, Morayo. How are you?
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning to the ladies there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, Talkback is still talking.
Go ahead, sir.
You are listening to the TV. It's delayed.
Good morning.
Stop listening to the TV, please. Listen to us. Go ahead, please.
Good morning to everybody there.
Good morning.
Mr. Hussein, you're listening to the TV. The TV is delayed.
I think it's
this year is almost 10 years.
You are getting tired of saying the same thing.
All right. I think we're going to just have to take a break. But I think
the...
there are a few comments we can run off because it's
okay.
Criminal politicians weaponize poverty. Now they talk more. If this office is supposed to be protecting the Prof, but Prof can arrange a deal with office like this, please, who needs protection, Prof or the office?
Oladiji says, orderlies of 2 VIPs fought themselves at a party a few months ago. They shot in the air and killed an innocent man.
Ralph King says, drop of water turned to big ocean. I feel this female police officer would have been seeing some red flags in form of little abuses. How should a mere professor have access to police guards safe? He says, no be only Mbaise-born. Then the same IG withdraw orderlies from every Dick, Tom, and Harrietta.
Okay, we have to wrap up on this, but I think generally we've agreed that it is wrong. What the professor did was absolutely wrong and unjustifiable. We also agreed that the police officer carries himself in a way that they exude respect, and that respect is what they are treated, and this is how they are treated. Another argument has come up saying that many police officers that are attached to VIPs feel that they owe their allegiance to that VIP because he or she pays for their salaries in addition to whatever it is the government is paying, which is really, really small. So because of that, the VIPs paying their children's school fees, possibly paying their rents, so they feel totally obligated to serve and serve wholeheartedly, subjecting the essence of their uniform, which is the reality of the Nigerian story. Either way, it's the box to stop at the table of the police or the Inspector General of Police to redefine the roles of these VIP, these orderlies, and see how we can get back the image, the dignity of their role, such that they are respected no matter where they are apportioned or allocated to. That is all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we discuss our cultural day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We've been getting numerous messages from different people saying, why are you guys dressed like you're going for Owambe? Well, again, it's our cultural day at TVC. It's a day we celebrate ethnicity. Everybody comes in different cultural attire. If you follow TVC on Instagram, on YouTube, and all the various pages, at some point we're going to go live and you see all the cultural display of different attires just to celebrate cultures. And I think it's an interesting time that we do this every year. We've been doing it for about 3 or 4 years now, and we're quite consistent every year. And this year is especially special because there's a lot of division in our country. There's so many factors where politicians are using to divide us, and we need these days like this to remind us that we're still one people. What are your thoughts on this culture diversity, and why is it important to you?
So Nigeria has a very rich culture, probably because we have the numbers. We have the ethnic groups in going to close to 400 and something. And every ethnic group has its origins in deep-rooted culture, the type of food they eat, the way they dress, and traditionally. And these are cultures that I feel if we organize ourselves as Nigerians, we can milk the world.
Absolutely.
I travel and I go to countries and I see their culture and everybody says, wow, woo, whoa. And I'm like, well, just a few tribes in my place will beat these people hands down. But instead of, harnessing that diversity as a strength that we can milk the world with, we are busy because of political interests trying to destabilize what we have. Nigeria is a very beautiful place. I go to some places and I'm like, a place in the north can cover this place that I'm seeing. I'm so proud of my country because I know, at least I can say that I've been to about 15 to 20 states in Nigeria. I know my country to the best of my ability, and I'm still going to more places. And I know that we are so ingenious. We wear our country proudly. Nigerians are the only ones you see outside the country that we wear Ankara, wear something. If you see a Ghanaian, you see a South African, you see they're all on English things. They don't even understand. But you can spot a Nigerian by how they are flamboyantly dressed in their own local attire. So it's a thing of pride that, TVC
it takes us
celebrating every year, just trying to remind us that we can have that differences, but still find a way to be together and enjoy ourselves.
Travel out, that's when we become patriotic. When we're inside Nigeria, we don't send though.
I've always been
patriotic.
But the moment,
and that's, I'm talking about
that's
you.
me,
I'm talking
yeah.
about Nigerians.
I've always been patriotic.
When we are here, we don't send each other, but the moment
beauty.
you step outside, suddenly you're looking for your people.
Yeah.
Suddenly when you hear Emeka, you're like, hey, Emeka, nice to meet
That's
you.
what you appreciate what you have.
I think it's yourself. And you see Emeka,
I bet, pack your face.
You, John, go and sit down somewhere. You, the Lapo, go and sit down somewhere. But, so why is it when we step out, begin to appreciate our culture, our language, our food? You see your food outside and you're thinking, amala. And I think it's just like, what's wrong with these people? So, Nima, your thoughts on ethnicity, and if we should, why would you like to celebrate today as a Cultural Day in TVC?
Okay, I would particularly appreciate it born in Lagos. And I remember growing up, my uncles would come and be like, they have to go home. My parents would be, it's not safe, it's not time yet. And I kept thinking that I would never know anything about my roots. But my mom, God bless her, took time to make it a language at home, effort. I remember all her beads. She's a princess of my kingdom. From the royal family, and at the time when she married, her grandfather was still king. She had all the beads, all her things that she married with, and I took them to school and lost everything. All the cultural day, they would dress me up, I would come back with one ear. I didn't know the value of it. So, but when I grew, I think I was around 20-something, I found a book of Proverbs in my language that improved my command of my language a lot. It was written by the Waziri of Bauchi, the former, the professor, I think he's late now, of Islamic Studies in Ilorin. And that book helped me greatly. He helped me improve. I understand all the several dialects of the Afemai language. And so for someone who had to study her own culture a second time, I particularly appreciate a thing like this. We're different. We're not the same. Where I was born, the friends I grew up with were Christians, Akwa Ibom, from Ogoja, different people. And so I would understand my childhood friend Kufre. When we were 4 or 5, he was from Akwa Ibom. We learned different things. But when you grew up and got to university, it just seemed like it was, because in Yoruba setting, when you speak a different language, my friends then would just like, they make it, and it was annoying. So what TVC is doing here is very important, so that we know that we have different people. And you go to some establishment, you see only one tribe. Sadly, in some states, even in their civil service, you can hardly find another tribe. And there's a general language spoken. So there's a language of the locality, which is normal. I can speak Yoruba well, but let us appreciate the differences that we have. And so when an institution like TVC or a corporate entity like TVC decides to do this annually, this is not the first time. It's been done consistently annually for a long time to foster that unity, to remind us that there are different identities and they're all unique. That, and nobody is apologetic. There's no minority here. When on that day, last year, so who won? I think MM had, last 2 years, she had the epic look. And she trashed everybody. It was different. There was no minority. It was the beauty of that culture that was seen and everything. And I think that is very important, and it's something people should emulate everywhere.
So what would you like today to signify, especially for Nigerians at this time?
So I've always felt like we're so one. My children are they are quarter Ijebu, quarter Ekiti, half Isha.
Imagine.
And I feel like when I hear people say, oh, Nigeria, everybody should stay in their own, we should separate, I'm like, so where are we going to go? Because these ones will say they are in the southern parts, and me, I'm southwest and all of that. There is beauty in our division. There's a beauty in our differences. And when we it's easy to see that difference and feel like this is not me. This is not my way. This is not the way we do things here. How about we look at it and say, interesting. Why are they doing it like that? What can I learn from what they are doing? How can I benefit from this experience they are displaying as their own norm? It would help us. My husband is totally different from me in terms of running a business or how it takes his time. I want to fly.
Fire brigade.
So when I talk to him and he'll be like, let's think about it. Before it was a fight. But now I tell him when he says, have you started again? I'm like, Mark, this is my way. And it's an advantage to this marriage that I jump. And it's an advantage to the marriage that you are slow. Because the two of us together can then build a formidable force. That is the way Nigeria is. The North has a strength, the South has a strength, the East has a strength. Everybody, the Middle Belt, the 6th geopolitical zone, we are all so different. And it is such a beautiful thing if we no longer see it as them doing their thing. But we are all now bringing those strengths together and leveraging it for the growth of our country. It will be so beautiful.
We should not allow politicians define these times for us. I think Nigerians must understand that, listen, this is who we are. I proudly say my father and my mother are from Lagos. My mother is from Isaleko, Dusumu family. My father is from Lagos, but was doing his death, I realized that his ancestors, actually, because I think his forefathers came from his forefathers on the father's side came from Maiduguri.
Wow.
I found that the Aka is a Maiduguri. I didn't even know.
Wow.
Aka descended from Maiduguri. His mother,
have Hausa roots.
Yeah, his mother is from Brazil. His great Brazil. When they came into Lagos, they came to Lagos. So they met there. Forefathers, but they came for the 1800s. So I think in the Lagos state, whatever. Once your family is here for the 1800s,
does that justify your nose? Because I'm looking at your nose differently now.
That matter. So, but the thing is that we are all somehow connected.
All connected.
And days like this, the time for us to reflect as a people, because political season is coming. Let these elections. I erroneously. Now, I'd like to admit that I erroneously said it sometime last week or something that it seems like this election is going to be based on ethnicity at the end of the day because everybody's going to go according to. But the truth is that it shouldn't be. I take that back. It shouldn't be. It should be based on competence. Let us see, what can you do? What have you done? What are you able to do? Are you able to evolve? Are you able to get everybody together? We don't want an ethnic race. We want a Nigerian race. We want Nigerians to know that, I'm coming now, Nima, let me learn. I want Nigerians to understand that we are Nigerians. And as we move forward as a people, we must move forward as one, as a people, not dividing each other. Yes, Nima, go ahead.
Topa had referred to something earlier when we're on the other topic that, when is your tribesman in office, you start to say it's our turn.
Our turn.
This our turn thing should just be expunged.
Exactly.
Because some tribes, we have how many, over 200 and something languages in Edo alone. In Edo alone, I cannot understand what they say when you cross over to Bini and Noah. I can only understand when if you get to Okwe, I can't even understand what you're saying. So we have so many languages, so many tribes. So it can be, when will it be some people's turn?
Honestly, some people may never
so
get it.
Let's get this nonsense of turns out of our head. And when we have a Nigerian, that Nigerian should drop every tie to any tribe and ethnic group and represent everybody.
May I quickly say that the government has a role to play in not feeling that distrust that the people have. You must not be seen to be partial to one part of the country. That is where it comes from. If you are seen as neutral, everybody gets a chance. Everybody who you think can do the work, who is competent, gets a chance. And you're not seen to, when it comes to this sort of people, you bend the rules. That is how Nigerians can become and agree that they are one. If we still see that some people are, treated with kids' glove and other people are treated differently, even if we speak English and wear traditional outfit every day, nobody will believe you. When you are done, you go back home.
We have to wrap up. So I would just like to take this last moment to appreciate the management of TVC for this wonderful initiative of Culture Day. As I said, before those political people start saying, it's because of political season. No, it's not. This is the 4th year.
Yeah, we do it
third year. We do it every single year. So it just so happens that this is a season that we are in. But I must celebrate the management of TVC for this fantastic initiative. It's great to bring Nigerians together, celebrate their culture. I'm pretty excited to taste all types of food. Music. I'm already hearing the music outside, eating, all types of things. So wait around for the live show so you can see the taste of what we're going to be experiencing today. Have a fabulous weekend. We'll see you Monday. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.